Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of F1 24 Career Mode here on the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. We're coming off of a, well, I would say rather embarrassing ending to our second race as a Trackhouse Racing driver. We ended up 21st in Jeddah after an opportunity to score points. We're bringing in some upgrades this weekend as well. Trackhouse is upgrading some facilities this weekend to Spec 3. So we're coming into the Australian Grand Prix weekend with a lot of just build up and hype. You see where we stack up there in the R&D and McLaren is still up on top after winning the first two rounds of the season. Both drivers, Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, both getting their first wins of their Formula One careers. Now the question is, can McLaren continue their strong suits into this weekend here and get another win in the first three rounds to kind of clean sweep them now going into the further episodes of Season 2. Nonetheless, we are ready to roll here in practice from Albert Park. So obviously our car, you know, it's in reality around a 13th to 15th place car really so far this season, I would say. Of course, Carlos Sainz scored a point for the team in Bahrain. A little bit of strategy assistance there. Last episode, we just took advantage of being in the DRS and we were able to hang on to it and put ourselves in the fight with Stroll and Alonso and them guys throughout the Grand Prix to put ourselves in a position to score a point or two as well, until I self-spun and threw it all away. And then we had the red flag from the Lance Stroll spin, which really changed things until I had a bug in the game. And then of course I had to pause the game, unpause it, and that disengaged the clutch. As you see a big moment there behind the wheel of our Trackhouse Cadillac machine. But overall, you know, a few things really made last episode suck by the end, but hopefully we can kind of turn things around here as we find ourselves in Australia now, looking for some positives this weekend. I would love to score our first points of the season. Right now, coming into this weekend, our strong suit with the Trackhouse and Cadillac powertrain is the fact that we have the really quick straight line speed advantage, and I'm hoping we can put that to use this weekend, as in Melbourne here we have a very long sweeping straightaway that I think we can take advantage of that.
Carlos, what's the expectation today?
Q2 for sure, Q3 would be great, but I don't think we are where we need to be for that yet.
You heard Carlos Sainz there with Natalie Pinkham very briefly there about the expectation as we come through to kick off Q1. Sainz said Q2, that's the expectation. Q3 is a little bit out of reach still, and I would definitely agree with the experience that Sainz has. He definitely knows what he's talking about here. My first lap in Q1, picking up some slipstream from that Audi of Valtteri Bottas now as we close up on the tail end of this opening lap. And as we head to the stripe, I wasn't too disappointed with it, but it would put us P8 in between the two Haas cars, which disappointed me a bit, and we would end up all the way down in 18th place. So obviously needing to find more time, being of course aiming for 16th or better to get through into Q2, and we started to find that time very quickly. 0.3 of a second gain here as we go through the chicane, and there it is, about 3.5 tenths. By the end of the lap we would find about half a second gain, which should be enough to put us through into Q2. We cross the stripe, P11, and that would in fact be enough here. We would drop down to 13th and beat our teammate of Carlos Sainz, who barely gets through. He's the last one through in 16th place as Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Joe Bottas, and Hulkenberg alongside rookie teammate Frederick Vesti all out in Q1. Now coming through into Q2, not really expecting to advance past this round. That's just a realistic expectation to have, so it's just about, okay, do what we can and see what happens. Only one set of fresh soft compound tires to kick off Q2, so we're going to try and make 2 laps, however, of course, on this set of tires. Usually you got enough there to make 2 laps. So we exit the final turn, DRS open, down the straightaway. Sainz currently P13 to the line, and it's only 15th place. Immediately trying to hook up lap number 2, and I immediately screw it up, and I could not go any quicker. So it's going to be P12 for Sainz as Gasly, him, Hauger's out in Ferrari, Albon, myself, and Sargent all out as we will start the Australian Grand Prix from the 15th starting position. Some work to do, but I still have confidence.
You can hear the Australian fans roaring as they line the track here in Albert Park. Welcome to Melbourne, and the roar from the crowd can only mean one thing. It's race day. The Melbourne circuit is certainly one that needs to be taken seriously. It's a combination of slippery surfaces and difficult corners, making it a very tricky track when it comes to overtaking. Drivers find it hard to pass and will need to take full advantage of those DRS zones if they want to have any hope of breaking through. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and Oscar Piastri completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Verstappen, Hamilton, Russell, Leclerc, Perez, Fernando Alonso, Stroll, Ocon, Gasly, Sainz, Hauger, Albon, Golden Boy, Sargent, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Joe, Bottas, Hulkenberg, and Frederick Vesti. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
All right, Gary, keep a clean nose today. We can have a great result.
Yeah, James, thank you. Let's keep it clean and hope for the best here. You hear our team principal there, James, and we're going to be going off the medium compound tire onto the hards and a one-stop strategy.
The formation lap gets underway then, and it's going to be interesting today to see how the dry conditions could affect the lifespan of the tyres.
Everybody on the mediums there, the front row lockout from McLaren, Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, Max Verstappen. Of course, the now four-time world champ P3 row 2 would love to get after it and get the lead on the run down into turn 1.
So as all the cars take their positions on the grid, the teams will be hoping their strategies pay off for them in today's race. The question I'm asking is which teams have got it right, which ones have got it horribly wrong?
Hard and aggressive into turn 1, mate, but keep it clean.
Yeah, 10-4. Long race, guys. Let's just keep after it and be on top of strategy. You never know what's going to happen here. So, we are ready to go racing as everybody now pulls up to the grid. Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, Max Verstappen, followed by the two Mercedes of Hamilton and Russell to round out the top 5. The pair of Haas cars, Hulkenberg and Frederick Vesti, pull up to the back of the grid, meaning we're ready to go racing here in Australia. 15th place on the grid. What can we do on the run into turn 1? Let's find out as we're racing, and it's a bit of a slow reaction from myself. Albon with a great launch, Sainz a bit slow, Sargent through to the middle of them as well, and now into turn 1. Verstappen goes from 3rd to 1st position. What a start from the Dutchman. Piastri drops into 4th place, Norris down into 2nd, as now you can see the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton into the 3rd position. What a start there from the 7-time world champion. Side by side here, just inside the top 10. As you can see now, the Alpine, the Aston, they get it sorted out. As you can see, all the blue and black cars there, all kind of in a train together with Trackhouse and Williams. And then you got the V-Carbs as well. Norris on the long DRS straight. No DRS on lap 1, but he's got some slipstream, and he's got a run on Verstappen. Same for Piastri as well to the back of Hamilton. Norris shows the nose. He backs out. Verstappen squeezes him towards the barrier, but he gave him a racing lane to work with now. But everyone settles in here as we go through the chicane. So we started P15. We actually end up P15 anyways, still on lap 1. So we were able to get back through on Logan Sargent, actually. Just a simple dive up the inside in turn number 3 is all it took there. Gasly and Ocon up there going at it for 10th and 11th place, but we settle in this 15th spot early on behind Sainz and Albon in the Williams. Dennis Hauger there, P12 for Ferrari. It's been a interesting start to his Formula 1 career. Of course, he didn't really expect to be with Ferrari. It was Lewis Hamilton who was expected to be in that car until, of course, he went and used a clause in his Ferrari contract that allowed him to stay at Mercedes, as they weren't where he was not, or Ferrari wasn't where he expected them to be in the R&D with the regulation changes now on lap 2 with DRS already. New leader, Lando Norris, passes Verstappen into the chicane. He takes over of this Australian Grand Prix, says thank you very much, and now I'm going to try and drive away. What can Piastri do with Lewis Hamilton? Both have DRS, but Piastri has a very substantial run. He'll show the nose, goes around the outside, a shallow exit there for Hamilton. Piastri through into P3, McLaren making moves early now as they continue to be strong. Hamilton runs wide there briefly, but stays ahead of his teammate of George Russell and maintains at least a 4th position. I'm settling in here behind my teammate of Carlos Sainz now. He's up 2-0 on us so far when it comes to racing, with the, of course, great effort in Bahrain, and then, of course, my mistakes in Jeddah allowed him to beat us there. So we're looking to just kind of beat him today and go at least make it 2-1. But we know Sainz is going to be a competitive teammate to go up against here now, as on lap 3 you can see, actually, unexpectedly, Hamilton goes around the outside of Piastri. What a move that was from the 7-time champ. And hold on, that Mercedes has a bit of speed here today as the top 2, though, of Norris and Verstappen. They are starting to run away. They're not battling now, as Norris has just enough speed to kind of keep Verstappen at bay right now, while Piastri doesn't quite have enough to run away from Hamilton. So they might get themselves caught up in a bit of a back and forth here over the next few laps now, and that's going to just allow the front two to run away even further, and this is well going to cause a train effect on basically 4th place on back, as they're going to be all stuck right there together. And here you go, we're continuing to watch this battle now, the end of the 2nd DRS straight, and Piastri goes around the outside. Hamilton trying to keep it pinned around the outside of the next turn. He backs out though. Piastri back through into P3, but they are now 2 seconds behind Max Verstappen, and look at the train it's making now, and we are at the very tail end of that train. We got a 2.6 second, you're 3-second advantage on Logan Sargent there, but outside of that, yeah, we're at the tail end of this really long, well, 10 car, 11 car train basically, as we're right on the back of Carlos Sainz looking for the right opportunity, and I think this is where it's going to be. We are showing more speed, and here we are right on the back of him on the exit of the chicane on at lap 5. Do we have the opportunity? Yes, we do. Lunge one up the inside. Here we go, wheel to wheel with the Spaniard, and we'll keep it contact free. Get the job done. Thank you very much. And now P14, as we can set our sights on our former teammate from season 1, Alex Albon here now, as we will try to make the lunge on him soon enough as we round this final turn. Not seeing a lot of movement here in any of this train. Of course, when you're in this train, it's so hard to make a pass unless you are the 2nd car in line, like a Lewis Hamilton and Oscar Piastri, as they have their back and forth, because everyone else is just in the same situation. They have DRS, they can close up to the car in front, but they can't do anything because the car in front of them has DRS to close up to the car in front of them, and it goes so on and so forth. However, here on lap 6, you see Albon a bit of a wide exit, and now here we are showing now the nose again up the inside of him, and easy clear into the right-hander and up into P13. Dennis Alger, can we make something happen on him? Suddenly we are just finding a very solid strong pace in this Trackhouse Cadillac machine, and now we're going to try and put some pressure on a car that we really shouldn't be able to pressure, and that's a Ferrari. But look at this again, right on the back of Hauger now, the rookie for Ferrari. We've got nearly a second on Albon. Hauger trying to cover the right side, but not enough. Up the inside we go, about half a car length advantage he has. We are now slipping the rear though, and that allows him to stay ahead, so we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer, be a bit more patient, but we're in perfect position, prime position, to potentially move ourselves up to P12, while Sainz is struggling to get past Alex Albon, who's struggling to keep up with me a little bit here, as now we come through down this long DRS straight, and I'm not waiting around anymore. Here we go, showing the nose to the left. We're gonna drag race down towards the chicane, but it's an easy pass as we drain our battery to about 30%. We take the position into P12. Can we do something now with Esteban Ocon? Look at the run we just got through that chicane, and we gain a good amount of time there on the Frenchman. But up front here, starting lap 9, Max Verstappen showing the nose on Norris for a potential move for the lead. Norris does not lift. Verstappen backs out as Piastri continues on in the 3rd position, and towards the end of the lap here, you got pressure from Hamilton and a lockup from Piastri into the 90-degree right-hander. He gets it back on the track just in front of Perez, but drops down into P6, his home race, and a costly mistake there for Piastri, who would love to be on the top step of the podium at home, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen today, but it very well could still be in favor of McLaren, just Lando Norris. We continue to try and now put some pressure on Esteban Ocon, but he's doing a good job keeping me at bay. I'm about 5 to 6 tenths of a second behind him as we got yellow flags in front of us, and it's Verstappen with an engine failure, smoke pouring out of the back of the Dutchman's Red Bull now as he's right in the middle of the track. He gets to the right side, and huge contact. Hamilton, Russell collide as well. Massive accident on the DRS straight, and the safety car immediately is going to be deployed. 3 cars in an incident here. Verstappen, Hamilton, Russell as well.
What the f***, man? I couldn't tell where he was going.
What the f*** was that? He just drove straight into me, mate.
You hear the reactions of Hamilton and Verstappen both out. I mean, what do you even say about that? A massive, massive accident, bringing now everybody into the pit lane. Definitely the biggest accident we've had from AI in this career mode so far, but everybody is pitting, including myself, and Norris is going to enter P1. He'll exit P1. He was able to get out before all of this double stacking chaos kicks off. This is going to completely shuffle the running order. We're going to come in, get our mediums off, get the hards on, so we're going to have to take the hards about 3 extra laps, but we get in a perfect hole, and we're P5. We're behind Pierre Gasly, Perez into P3, and Leclerc in second, but we find ourselves in 5th. How about Dennis Hauger? It looks like he's going to be 6 over Alonso, and I think Sainz as well is going to find himself in a decent position as well in P10.
Okay, that worked out incredibly well for us. Let's just try to maintain DRS and we can get a great result.
So you hear Mark there on the radio, and yeah, I mean, we are in a great position now, and Alex Albon into 8th place, and the way this track is, if we can just maintain DRS, we're going to find ourselves in a tremendous position as we get ready to go racing here at the end of lap 12. So, Lando Norris is in control. Oscar Piastri, he's got a bit of work to do to get himself back forward, but we return to racing out of the final turn, coming to lap 13. A nice comfortable gap on Dennis Hauger and a great run on the Frenchman of Gasly. Let's show the nose up the inside into turn 1. Not quite alongside enough to go for it and barrel it up the inside. So we concede, we maintain P5 right there, and now we got to try and find some heat in the front tires of these this hard compound. We just got to get them heated up to get this thing to turn. You can see I'm already struggling. Understeer galore when you have a tire that's not heated up yet, and yeah, I was struggling right off the bat, already under pressure from Dennis Hauger now, and we would lose about 0.8 of a second by the time we got to the back straightaway chicane here, and Hauger and Alonso both closing, but you can see my left front up to temperature, right front not, but Hauger right behind us blowing up. It's going to be immediately on the restart. Day over for the Ferrari rookie who had benefited tremendously well from the double stacking situation, but it's going to be now day over for him as we continue on, still struggling to get this right front up to temperature. No safety car, no virtual safety car, nothing like that. We continue on, but we're 1.4 seconds now behind, as it seems like the AI have gotten their tires up to heat without any issue versus me, who just can't. Now I'm 2 seconds back on lap 14, and now I'm about to be under pressure from the two-time world champion, the Spaniard of Fernando Alonso. Of course, we talked about it. Aston Martin was so good at the end of last season, but they quite haven't had it since the regulation change, and now here comes Alonso on the run into turn 1 with the DRS on the inside. There he goes into 5th place. Now one of his best runs in this early part of the season so far, but it's still Norris out in front over Charles Leclerc. Bit of a lock up there from Alonso as well, but you got Perez in 4th because he's currently behind the Frenchman of Pierre Gasly. Those two are kind of going back and forth right now as well. So we are just maintaining with Alonso, and we're using DRS to our favor. That's the thing, that I think the DRS in F124 is quite simply too overpowered, and that's why we see the DRS trains. Of course, the mod that we use definitely makes good work of that, as we have a big slide, but yeah, I think the DRS is just too overpowered. You know, I could have the worst car on the grid, but if I'm in the DRS of, say, a McLaren, which is the best in the R&D right now, I could stay with them, and that's not a good thing. Here now, as you can see, Perez locks up on turn 1, and off he goes, and that's going to go from bad to worse for Red Bull, because he's going to plummet outside of the points here. Now is Ocon, Sainz, our teammate, and everybody else goes through, including Lance Stroll, Tsunoda, the Audi of Zhou Guanyu as well, and now it looks like it could be a no-point day for Red Bull. Racing now in shambles, that team is, with a mechanical failure for Verstappen. Mercedes, of course, it hasn't worked out for them either. They still have Russell in the race, but Hamilton out with the accident. Russell, of course, ways down the order as well, as we go back around the outside of Alonso, and we are on track for an incredible result after a very rough 2 races. Of course, it's pure luck that's got us here, but it doesn't matter how you got here. It's just really whatever the result is, that's what you get. So here comes Alonso on the run towards turn 1 again, showing the nose. He is not making it easy for me. We go side-by-side contact there with Alonso. Side-by-side on the exit, but he gets clear now, as it looked like maybe he just ran a little bit wide off the apex there and just kind of collided with me just enough to upset the balance of the car. But fortunately, we don't really lose anything out of it. Albon Piastri just behind. Piastri's working his way forward into 7th place, looking looking for a 6 off the Williams now as we continue to just follow Fernando through these next few corners. And here we go again. We're going to have a great opportunity right here to show the nose. He continues to cover towards the right like he's done just about every time down towards this corner, and we'll just about clear him at the apex. No, he's going to fight back now. We're still wheel to wheel. Alonso not making it easy. He's old, but he doesn't care. He can still get a car around a circuit now as we're going to go through the grid with 10 to go.
Norris in front with Leclerc trailing just behind. However, it looks like he's easily in control of this race.
He has total control here, no pressure at all from Leclerc. McLaren and Norris are going to take full advantage today of Verstappen's engine failure as well. McLaren has fired out of the gate this year on a huge level.
The crash and safety car combined with the pit lane chaos really changed this race for the majority of the field. Gasly, Owen, Albon, Sainz all having great runs here as Trackhouse has both their cars in the top 10.
George Russell, on the other hand, is slowly working his way back forward. He was the lone driver to come out of that crash, still in the race. Down in 15th currently, but he's moving forward.
You see Hulkenberg there in 14th, a solid run for the Haas driver. There's been some discussion that we may see a new title sponsor for the team in the coming weeks.
Ricciardo with a subpar day at home in 16th currently. A nice advantage over Vesti though. He should just ride around where he is for the rest of the day.
And there you see at the bottom of the grid of the running grid, Perez now, of course, Hauger, Hamilton, Verstappen, all out. 3 big teams right there now as we continue in this fight with Fernando Alonso and others now as we come to lap 22. And actually, Oscar Piastri's with a huge slide. It was worth noting Oscar Piastri now is having a mechanical issue. Mark would tell me that. So Piastri's going to start probably plummeting down the order here momentarily now. As you can see, there goes Fernando Alonso. He's going to be able to pass me now. And again, back into 4th, but we're still finding ourselves in a great position, and we have both Trackhouse cars currently running inside the points. The 2 front runners of Norris and Leclerc as we continue to struggle, but they're right together, but long gone. And how about the Frenchman of Gasly is in position to get a podium here today in Albert Park. What a day for Alpine now after a terrible start last season. They have really turned a corner now as there you see Albon's going to go around the outside of Piastri. Could be a great day for Williams Racing as well, on top of our great day in Trackhouse and for Alpine as well, as now Piastri is going to start plummeting down the order. He's got a whole bunch of cars, including the first up going to be Lance Stroll, who's going to want to get past him here, and it's turning into a pretty solid day for Aston Martin Racing as well. They might actually collect the most points of anybody now, as here we go again, trying to close up on the back of Alonso, not quite close enough to make a desperate lunge up the inside, so we just continue to follow him. But here's Lance Stroll now on the run down towards that 90-degree right-hander, and he's going to go around the outside of Piastri, who now drops down to P8. Carlos Sainz and Esteban Ocon battling it out. Sainz and P9. Ocon, Tsunoda there in 10th and 11th place with just 5 laps of racing to go here from Albert Park. Leclerc has been all over Norris, but he just can't get close enough, even with the DRS, to make a move. So he's just kind of riding there in the 2nd position and has to really accept the fact that I don't think he's going to be able to win today unless he can maybe hope that Norris drains his battery and on that final lap he can take advantage of that now as we nearly end our race, as that was a big moment, but we are fortunately able to save it and keep control. And now we really just got to try and stay within the DRS here of Fernando Alonso, and fortunately we would do that, so we would be right back up on him here. We have been really wheeling the car here on this hard compound tire now as we come to just 3 laps to go, and we are slowly reeling in Pierre Gasly, so you never know, we could still have a chance for a podium. But you can see, yeah, this car is just trying to step out and we lose a bunch of time, but fortunately again we're just barely inside the DRS, so we were able to use that DRS to get right back up there. But here's now Esteban Ocon, who's run down Piastri. He'll go around the outside. He was able to pass Sainz, obviously, as you can see as well, but hold on, it might not be over. I think Sainz as well is going to have an opportunity to attack Piastri. There you go, Sainz back through into P9. He's going to go around the outside and complete the overtake without any issue. Piastri drops into P10 as now we're again all over the back of the Spaniard of Alonso. Here is now 2.1 seconds to Gasly. It was 2.7 a few moments ago, 2 laps ago in this Grand Prix, and it's all Lando Norris who has less than a second advantage on Leclerc, but Leclerc just can't do anything about it now as this final final lap is underway. Still 2.1 seconds to Gasly, so obviously no chance of running him down for a podium, but very well in the conversation to pass Alonso on this final lap for 4th place, and it shouldn't be that difficult. We just got to stay with them, and that's exactly what we would do, and just be patient towards the DRS straightaways. Here we go now for the final time down the long sweeping DRS straightaway. Do we do it now, or do we wait for the exit of the chicane? I would like to do it as soon as I possibly can, and here we go to the back of Alonso. He goes into harvesting as well. We breeze past him, and I think Gasly as well is already out of battery. 1.5, 1.4, 1.3 is quickly coming down, but up front it's all Lando Norris, and it's going to be for the second time for him in his career, as he's now holding off Leclerc through these final few turns. Out of the final turn down the front straightaway, Lando Norris now becomes a 2-time winner in Formula 1.
Let's go, guys. Thank you, I love you all.
Norris gets it done. His teammate Piastri's not even going to score a point. He's down to P12. Russell's gotten him for P11. But how about Pierre Gasly and Alpine? We closed in, but it's still P3 and a podium finish for Gasly and Alpine. P4 for us. What a day for Trackhouse.
That's P4, mate. Let's go. Awesome day.
Let's go, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. What a day. Unbelievable.
Hey Gary, it's Justin. What a drive, thank you. I think it's a good time to finalize that Indy 500 deal.
And you hear that as well from team owner of Justin Marks. Stay tuned in the next episode or two for news on that. But wow, what a result for Lando Norris, of course, his second win of the season. And McLaren are just absolutely on it right now. And it looks like they've got 2 drivers that are very capable, of course, now of winning Grand Prix, which is going to be big for them, as honestly they could be unstoppable because of that going forward here. We'll see what happens. Of course, it's a long season of racing. We've got 24 Grand Prix, but what a podium as well. I mean, you got Norris, you got Leclerc, but then you got the Frenchman of Pierre Gasly and the French team of Alpine. It's been a heck of a start to the season for Alpine as well. They got more points than Aston Martin right now. They're 5th in the constructors, and we'll see a points update here in just a moment. But a huge day for our team as well. Of course, we were lacking behind Sainz in the first 2 Grand Prix. He was up 2-0, but we bounced back with a huge day, and now we've got more points than him in total. So, of course, Sainz was able to pick up a single point as well, but we were able to pick up 13 points. So, 2 points to Sainz season, 13 for us now. And as well, should mention, we actually got the fastest lap right there at the end as well, which is very surprising. So that was an additional point onto our tally. Norris with a 20-point advantage over Piastri, 29 over Verstappen. Neither of them even scored points, and Leclerc about 31 points back. Sainz P16 in the points as we're up into P8 after a great day, just taking advantage of the safety car and double stack. And we're P7 in the constructors, and Williams with a strong day as well with Alex Albon. That wraps it up for me. I'll see you guys in the next one for the Japanese Grand Prix. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.